Gold futures retreated for a 10th day midweek and the longest run of losses since 1996. What are the charts telling Gary Wagner? Will gold see a rally next week? Gary, thank you for joining us in this new edition of Chart This.
My pleasure to be here. My pleasure to be here as always.
So, Gary, we saw a sell-off early in the week for gold. The metal seems to now be getting some support from a weaker dollar at the end of the week. What's your take on the price action we've seen?
Well, if you recall from last week, I really believed that we had a critical area that was sitting at around 1131. And I felt that if we breached that support level, at least on a technical basis, we would see this market really plunge back below 1100. And I believe I said it could go anywhere between 1080 and 1090. We did have an intraday low when that market moved of about, I think, a 1085. So we actually saw gold move to where our models predicted that they would go. At this point, we could see a little bounce, but I am expecting more downside pressure. And the numbers that I'm looking at currently are about 1038.
All right, and we're going to dive deeper into your key levels in a second, Gary. But I was talking to RBC's George Giro, and he said that with all the bears in the woods and options expiry set early for next week, there could be a rally here. Would you agree?
Well, absolutely. First of all, anything can happen, but his point is really well seated and well founded, and that is that when the investment community as a whole is at its most bearish point, it is at that point that you're typically at the bottom of the market. In other words, as a market is going through a rally stage, typically you get a mass flood of investors and speculators adding more money at the top of a market. And so the reciprocal happens in a bear market. No one really can say with any certainty when it will end, but it will take many of us by surprise when it does.
All right, Gary, let's pull up a chart on silver now. The metal is showing some resilience in this commodity slump. How do you see it set up?
Well, we were looking for 1450, and we got that number last week. It has been resilient in that in the past, we have seen both gold and silver move in tandem, silver being a percentage gainer on up days and a percentage loser on down days. We've seen kind of a disattachment between the two. So it did not move down in terms of a percentage drawdown to the degree that gold did. However, I believe that if gold continues under pressure, silver will also.
All right, Gary, you hinted to it before, but let's take a look at your levels for gold that you're eyeing for next week.
Well, I mean, on the upside, any kind of effective close, say above 1100 and forming a base at 1100, could mean that we're finding some sort of support in the market and we could see the market take off from there. However, any breach of that 1085 number now, because that's now our new intraday low, and the next real number we have to look at is 1065, and that's based on a low back in 2010, February of 2010.
All right, Gary, thanks so much for your thoughts.
Well, it was my pleasure to be here, and I do want to wish all of our Chart This viewers a great weekend, and most importantly, successful investing next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gary, and thank you for watching. We'll see you on Monday for a brand new Gold Report.